Hey everyone, Commander Josh Hawkins here, and welcome to another episode of Exploring Elite Dangerous Horizons. In this episode, we'll take a quick look at some of the new features we're going to get along with the first major update to Season 2, as well as discuss the delay in its release. I also have some really exciting news that many of you may have already heard regarding Oculus Rift compatibility and virtual reality in Elite Dangerous. But before we get into the juicy parts, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys and girls out there who have subscribed to and supported my channel so far. I have to admit, I never expected such amazing reception by the community. At the time of recording this, I just watched my counter hit 848 subscribers, so thank you all. I love reading the comments on each video that you guys leave, and I'm always looking to improve this channel and make it even more enjoyable for you, since I intend on being around for a long time and possibly expanding into other games in the future. With that said, let's get on to some of the good stuff. As like many of you, I'm sure, I love technology. I've had an Oculus Rift DK1 since they first became available. Despite its low resolution, the experience was mind-blowing, and ever since getting it, I've become an advocate of virtual reality. Strapping an Oculus Rift onto your head is kind of a mandatory requirement if you're a visitor in my house. Recently, my wife bought me a Samsung Gear VR, which was a huge game changer in terms of the quality of the image and the overall feeling. It also made it a lot easier to introduce more people to VR, since I can just pack this into a Star Wars lunchbox and pretty much bring it everywhere I go. The reaction I get from people who try it is pretty much always the same. Oh my god, this is amazing, I need to get one of these. Anyone who hasn't had the chance to try VR yet, you're in for a trip. I never got the chance to try my DK1 with Elite Dangerous because I accidentally blew up the power box by plugging in the wrong adapter one day. Yeah, I know, I'm an idiot. But I can imagine what Elite would be like, and it gives me goosebumps just thinking about how it will feel to finally be sitting inside the ships I've been flying on my screen for the past 2 years. The sense of presence and perspective you feel in virtual reality is just something that you can't describe to someone who hasn't experienced it, and I truly believe that this is the future of all simulator games. For those of you who are waiting until the price comes down, I completely understand, but if you have the opportunity to demo the Oculus when it starts shipping to retail stores, don't pass up that chance, because it's finally official. David Braben has lifted the veil and announced that Elite Dangerous will support the Oculus Rift consumer version at launch. What a huge relief that was for me, and I'm sure to many others who have already pre-ordered the CV1. Elite Dangerous will be supporting the game by releasing a free upgrade with built-in Oculus support to everyone. So all you have to do is download this new version for free, which seems to be called Elite Dangerous Deluxe Edition, and you're good to go. There will also be a means of transferring the game to the Oculus Store, which is kind of like Oculus's version of the Steam Store. It's got quite a bit of content right now when I access it from my Gear VR, and I imagine there's going to be a separate section just for the CV1, which will have 30 titles available for it at launch. If you haven't tried VR, the main problem that some people have with it, aside from the price of course, is feeling motion sickness. Now fortunately, I don't have a problem with that, and I've yet to experience any nausea, even with my old DK1, which I spent hours in, and I tried pretty much everything that was available for it at the time. However, I can confirm that nausea is a real problem for some people, as I watched my friend get so sick he couldn't even put the headset back on for a couple of seconds without wanting to throw up. Now, obviously, this is something that the folks over at Oculus have put a great deal of effort into remedying, and there have been claims that this is fully resolved with the consumer version, but we'll have to see. Oculus did release a list of games that will be available at its launch and gave each one a comfort rating that rated them as either comfortable, moderate, or intense. Elite Dangerous is listed as intense, which doesn't surprise me much. I mean, Elite is, after all, a space simulator, and there's a lot of flying around in different directions, and I've heard that driving the SRV in VR is particularly difficult for some people to handle. From my experience with virtual reality, I'd imagine that would be due to the constant stop-and-go motion of the SRV. This certainly does give you a weird feeling in virtual reality and might very well be the cause of many a commander hurling their lunch. So make sure to keep a bucket nearby if you plan on doing any planet excursions. Moving right along, patch 2.1, the engineers, has been delayed until June, with the beta likely starting sometime in May. Although many people are quite disappointed by this and have questioned how much this delay will affect the release schedule of the subsequent patches, this seems to be the trend in gaming these days, and it's probably for the best. Developers are more interested in releasing a polished product rather than a half-assed one that causes them to lose customers. And while the irony there is that many people would argue that Elite wasn't exactly a polished game at release, that doesn't mean they should make the same mistake twice. So at the very least, they are learning, and I have faith that the devs at Frontier will do right by us with their long-term plans for Elite. And to make it up to us, they've released some news on another one of the upcoming features we'll see in patch 2.1, Bookmarks. Some people might not find Bookmarks to be very exciting, but I think the vast majority of players will be very happy that this is being added, and I, for one, am really thrilled. It's a small feature, sure, but it's something that everyone can benefit from in one way or another. What exactly will we be able to bookmark? Well, it would seem that we'll be able to bookmark almost anything, pretty much. Star systems, planets, asteroid belts, starports, outposts, surface ports, and settlements. And this will work for both the galaxy map and the system map as well. Bookmarks will also be customizable, so you can rename the bookmark to make sure you remember why that particular location is important to you. You may want to remind yourself that you're wanted in a particular system, or bookmark a really great mining or trade location. And you'll be able to plot a route to your bookmarks as well. Now, I don't know if that means you'll be able to customize the route itself, but since the bookmarks themselves can be used as waypoints, I think it'll ultimately end up being like a custom route in the end. A couple more features just announced in today's newsletter. Community goals will now be displayed on mission boards in all stations throughout the bubble. In addition, we will now have the ability to find and track the locations of currently active CGs on the galaxy map. This will make it easier to find and get involved with other commanders and hopefully bring more people together in a peaceful and cooperative way. Unless, of course, you're a psychopath or pirate, in which case these new icons will tell you where you can find a whole bunch of easy targets to wreak pain and misery on. And for the final sneak peek of the week, you'll be making tracks while exploring planet surfaces in the Engineers update. Okay, cool, a nice aesthetic update. This was a highly demanded addition that had been put to a poll in the forums, and I like it. Not only will this add to the sense of actually having been there, but it will also give all those creative commanders a nice outlet to express their artistic sides. Yeah, you know where this one's gonna go. There's something I want to mention that I feel obligated to bring up. Last week I noticed a nice influx of traffic to my channel and I couldn't quite figure out where it was coming from. I hadn't released any new videos recently because I've been working very hard on an exploration guide type video. I wasn't featured in the newsletter, and as far as I could tell, there hadn't been any recent shoutouts or sharing of my channel. But after a fair amount of searching and a few days wait for my YouTube analytics to update, I managed to figure out where it all came from. It would seem that by some error, my YouTube channel was accidentally linked in the most recent newsletter instead of the commander whose video was actually listed there. That would be Commander Black Ixo, who recently posted a video of him and some friends doing some crazy flying along the edge of a cliffside during the Distant Worlds expedition. Now, while I certainly won't complain about the extra traffic, I feel like Black Ixo deserves the credit he was due from his video, so I've linked it down in my description, and I hope you'll all go take a look. And finally, speaking of shoutouts, a huge thank you to Obsidian Ant for featuring my Exploring the Milky Way series on one of his recent videos. That was really an amazing surprise for me, since it was through watching his videos on exploration that I was originally inspired to go check out the galaxy in the first place. I've also linked his channel in the description below, but I mean, unless you live under a rock, I'm sure you're already familiar with his work. As I mentioned earlier, I'm currently working on an exploration guide of sorts, which I'm hoping to have finished in the next 2 weeks. It's actually taken me a fair amount longer than expected since it's quite lengthy, and I've put a ton of production work into making sure it's engaging and informative, but it's been taking up all my time from actually playing the game, so my next installment in my exploration series is also a little delayed as a result. I will absolutely get some time in this weekend, and I can't wait to get back out there exploring again, so stay tuned for updates soon. If you haven't already done so, please click the like button below, since it really does help my channel grow, and don't forget to subscribe. For now, this is Commander Josh Hawkins, signing off.